I want to speak a little bit about Jerry Springer. Very famous talk show presenter, of course. I've made videos previously about Jeremy Kyle, who is basically Britain's answer to Jerry Springer. And I always sort of took the view that Jeremy Kyle was worse on the grounds that there was a sort of notion that a lot of the Jerry Springer setups were staged. Indeed, a lot of them were. But I do believe there are others, sort of like every other episode or so, that weren't staged, and there really was, let's say, real people in those storylines who were basically being staged by Springer. I'm going to say this from the outset. I'm going to be very blunt and not politically correct and not diplomatic. I believe that people like Jerry Springer are scum. I basically have total contempt for the man and everything he stands for. Same with Jeremy Kyle. Um, in the end of the day, when you really, really, really get down to it, what these sort of talk show presenters represent is the absolute worst form of parasite behavior. Um, in the end of the day, what they're doing is exploiting troubled, broken people for the sake of a very sick form of entertainment. Um, Obviously, some of the Springer storylines are very far fetched. A bit of background, incidentally: Jerry Springer was a failed politician. As I understand it, he ran as a Democratic, don't know if it was congressman or senator, but he failed. Then he got into presenting. And I've seen enough clips from his shows to sort of see that there's a very smug satisfaction he gets from stirring things up. For example, I've watched clips a bit earlier where he had transgender women, i.e., people born male, basically coming out on national television and telling their boyfriends that they are a man. Um, this is very dubious. I mean, for one thing, a lot of transgender people wouldn't necessarily come out like that, especially not on national TV. But this is no laughing matter. You just don't fuck with someone's emotions like that on national TV. And as for the studio audience, I feel the same way about them as I do with the Jeremy Kyle crowd. As far as I'm concerned, they're a bunch of um, shallow losers. I mean, they chant Jerry, Jerry, Jerry like it's some sort of fucking circus, and they sit there playing judge, jury, and executioner with all the guests. They're disgusting, quite frankly, and I don't care if that makes me unpopular. I hate this show and everything it represents. And for those who say, "Oh well, if you don't like it, don't watch it," I don't watch it. But I will say one thing: just because it's popular doesn't mean there can't be a different viewpoint. I'm making this video simply to balance things out a little bit and make it clear that not everyone likes this show. Not everyone thinks it's harmless. Not everyone thinks that Springer is above criticism. He was interviewed in the UK on Hard Talk, I believe it was, and he was very sensitive, which makes him, as far as I'm concerned, a hypocrite. But he was basically claiming that he gives these people attention they wouldn't otherwise get. He was making all sorts of excuses. I didn't buy it. Some people did. I still think Springer is a scumbag. I mean, put it this way: if this man is really interested in helping people, why does he always, always, always set up situations where he knows there will be confrontation, where he knows that his security people will have to break up people, and then the six studio audiences who are just as odious as Springer himself, they find that entertaining. Okay, some of these setups are clearly storylines, um, but there are others I think really are sincere cases. I don't know if Springer's on air anymore, so some of the things I'm talking about will be now historical archives, but as far as I know, Springer is still active. I cannot comprehend how people think there's anything entertaining about this. Like playing with people's emotions on national television, exploiting people, lying to people. It just there's something very, very sick about that. And I basically think he's a disgusting human being. He is a vulture, a parasite, and a liar. I think he's a horrible little man, and I would like to see Springer challenged a hell of a lot more. Um, he's a complete creep, and his sick show. I'm not going to say it should be banned because as soon as you say something like that, people get the wrong idea and they think you're pro censorship. I'm not necessarily saying that, but at the very least, there should be a balanced. Um, those who are critical also need to be heard. That's why I'm making the video because you know, unfortunately, people who basically promote bullying, who promote the very worst in human nature, tend to get a lot of attention. Something I've never understood. I've never understood why people are attracted to such cynical behavior. And in the end of the day, Springer has made his fortune off basically exploiting troubled people. And it's disgusting. The man is a complete vulture. And I think he's a good businessman. He's known how to do it. But he's a complete and utter vulture. And he markets this as entertainment. Just like Kyle, he doesn't even pretend that he is a psychologist. He clearly enjoys winding people up. He clearly enjoys getting below their skin and creating situations where there's going to be confrontation. Now, people might say naive and the whole thing's set up. I don't really think it is. I think that a lot of it is more set up than the Jeremy Kyle show, which is why I think the Jeremy Kyle show is worse. But that doesn't mean all of Jerry Springer is set up. I just think that these sort of talk shows, and by the way, point about people who say it's harmless. I will quote an example from the 1990s. I forget the name of the show, but there was basically a gay man who came out to a guy on the TV show. I believe it was 1995, and basically this gay man and his female colleague, they knew the guy, and he came out and said he liked him. Now, on the surface, that's okay. You might say, well, he was humiliated, but that's sticks and stones may break my bones. The thing is, he didn't. He persisted in pursuing the guy, even though the guy said he liked women. Well, it ended up in a homicide, and I believe that the host of the show was questioned for her role in basically stirring up this situation. I forget the name of the show, but that is proof that this sort of situation is not harmless. So I just find it very unfortunate that creeps like Jerry Springer get the success they get, basically from doing what they do, which is exploiting people. And I really, really, really would love Springer's private life to be plastered all over the world, and for him to understand what it's like to be at that side. I mean, I just don't know how people can support these guys. They're vultures. That's what they are. They think they're better than everyone else. They they take great pleasure from exploiting people's troubles for the sake of entertainment. It's disgusting. And I'm not religious, I'm not making any sort of puritanical statement, but how the fuck can people find this entertaining? Seriously, it really pisses me off. So I'm speaking very candidly and very honest about my views, and I'm not trying to be polite. That's not the point here. The point is honesty. I think Springer is scum. Sick host, sick show.